On paper, you did all the right things, yet emotionally, it still feels like you're running late. That's because life for Gen X was expensive in invisible ways. You carried more responsibility than other generations, and you had fewer structural supports. We Gen X, had fewer structural supports. I'm always mystified that I can't afford vacation. I never qualified for any of the stimulus checks or any of these great tax breaks. Make just enough for them to just keep taking my money. It doesn't make any sense. Here's 5 reasons why Gen X women feel behind about retirement. Which one feels most like you? Number 1, you were the shock absorber generation. You cared for kids and parents, absorbed divorces and layoffs and relocations and economic turmoil. Often prioritizing other people's needs. That's what we were taught. Our job was to absorb other people's problems and other people's needs. For me, my 20s were about surviving somebody else's crisis. It was emotionally and financially devastating. It had ripple effects for years, never mind the introduction of some bad coping mechanisms in a relationship with fast food that I'm just now breaking. Number 2, you played by rules that changed mid-game. Pensions disappeared, healthcare costs exploded, housing became inaccessible. Most retirement advice assumed linear career lives, which most women don't have. Basically, we planned for a future that no longer exists. Reason 3, time feels shorter now. A lot of that behind feeling is really that urgency of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Even if you don't know yet when you're going to retire, it's coming. You can see that it is coming. And that wells up a sense of urgency and a bit of a sense of panic. Comparison pressure increases, noting what other people are doing and everybody that is around your age bracket is talking about it. And the margin of error feels smaller. And it is a little bit. Before we move on to 4 and 5, I'm curious, is the urgency feeling something you've noticed or worried about? Yes or no? Put an answer in the comments. Just curious. Number 4, you were taught to be responsible, not strategic. Save what you can. Don't rock the boat. Don't ask for more. Don't ask for more. Oh, totally true. Do not prioritize yourself. Sacrifice your own needs. Be responsible. Being responsible kept the lights on, but it didn't leave a lot of room for planning for the future. In fact, I don't know about you, but some people say that we were raised to be wives. 100% true. But that's not really the issue for me. It was also talking about the future and planning for it was sort of a selfishness. I actually can't even really explain it, but I was given the messages that my job was to do the right things, do them in order, get them done, but this grubbiness of longing for money if you were a saver, it's absolutely ridiculous. But that is one of the messages I was given. And number 5, we know this, but we forget. Social media shows other people's outcomes, not any context, and maybe not even reality. No one posts selfies of themselves mid-caregiving in the middle of burnout, in the middle of a divorce, in the middle of a fight with an ex about parental care, during divorce recovery, during a binge, during health detours. They don't post the messy, and we start to feel like we have not done enough. We are not worthy, and we are a mess, and we are behind. Look, I know you're as sick of it as I am. I don't want to hear a coachy language like, let's just reframe it so it sounds better. It doesn't make anything sound better. It just makes me want to claw somebody's face off. So I'm not going to do that to you. I know you don't want to hear me repeat ChatGPT language like, you're not behind, what do you say? You're not behind, you're recalibrating. That is not helpful for anybody. What I can tell you from experience and from observing people and from coaching is that there is no magical time for retirement readiness. You didn't miss the mark in your 20s or 30s. Yeah, there's regret. We've talked about regret. We know there are things we could have done, but the real retirement readiness, that feeling of, oh, I can do this, comes not when your house is perfectly clean and you folded one more load of laundry, and not when your taxes are ready to take to the accountant or ready to do on TurboTax, not when your kids are doctors and lawyers and everything's perfect and everything's exactly how you want it to be. It's actually in the middle of all the chaos, in the middle of this feeling of unreadiness, in the middle of the cat just puked over there, in the middle of all the things you need to do. It happens when you finally look up, and you decide, I have a say in my own life. Oh yeah, this is my life. It's time for me to have a say. Because it is not just about what those finance bros say about your $1.5 million, or now your $2 million, I think they're up to, that you need in the bank. Okay. 80% of it is having mental and physical health, energy that can sustain you, a community you can lean on, and a life that feels worthy of retiring into. So the question isn't, did you do enough? You did enough. You did it all. You did enough. The question is actually, what matters most from here? Which of these things do I need to work on? That's what we talk about around here. This channel is about helping Gen X women like me, like you, stop panicking, stop feeling judged, and start planning from right where you are right now. Not from the shame of comparison where our boomer parents were at our age, or those luxury lives posted on social media. I know that I want to feel ready. I want to feel that calm of knowing I have a game plan. And that looks like to me, knowing my purpose, locking in my mental and physical health, fostering my relationships, and having my personal finances dialed in as best as possible. Being Gen X has had its challenges, but I am so happy to have had dial tones and pop rocks and roller skating parties with all of you. Together, we're building a life we love. This is Gen X Missy reminding you that if you start now, we can retire happy.